Now you just keep quiet, understand, or I'll shoot you in the face, baby.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly. I am joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hey!
How you doing?
And we have a guest who I've been instructed to introduce with the phrase, hello, it's Alex Patak.
Hello.
Alex,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Host of Quarators.
Thank you.
From podcasts.
Thank you for having me. It's good. Hello.
Welcome.
We have made you watch Red Dragon.
Not that one.
No, not that one. The title of this, the recording session we're currently doing is Red Dragon, not that one, because this is Red Dragon, the 1965 West German Italian spy film.
What if the West German guy was Italian?
Exactly. Has like 50 different titles. The original German one is Das Geheimnis der drei Junken, The Secret of Three Junks. Let me tell you, we are deep in the bowels of the fucking IMDb list of Eurospy movies here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that far. This is only 1965. All of the movies we've done thus far have been 1964 and 5.
Yeah.
And yet, it took 1 year precisely to get into the real dregs. I mean, this is. I had a bad time with this one.
Kind of a Pokemon-style craze for those 2 years.
It's so by the numbers, this one.
Oh, yeah. Eurospy by the numbers.
Did everybody catch all of the junks? I saw 2.
No, there's one junk in this.
There weren't that many.
There's 3 in the opening shot.
There were 3 in the opening.
Yeah.
So the opening shot is some ominous junk and then sinister Umpar music, which is
because
the first time I've ever heard that.
German. I mean, this is, you never want to see the phrase eine deutsche-italienische Koproduktion historically.
Oh yeah, good point. Shit, yeah.
I've always said that.
Not countries that you want to co-produce anything, but particularly because the studio logo for this has a big globe and some wings, and you're like,
Oh, welcome to the axis of drama.
yeah.
This is what they did after the war.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got to collab again. Not on this, but on something else.
Yeah.
We loved working with them. What we made wasn't that good, but the energy was fantastic.
It's low-hanging fruit, but like it has a bunch of West German actors in it, and it was made in the 60s. So like one of the lines in the director's Wikipedia page is like, after he got out of the Allied prisoner of war camp, he went back to making movies. And you're like, oh, okay.
Well, I hope you've learned your lesson.
I saw the movies he made afterwards.
No, he did not. So I will say, first of all...
Sorry, was he in a prisoner of war camp brackets good or bad?
What do you mean by that? Which one's the good bro?
Which one's good?
He was presumably in the German military, so no, probably not.
So he's Nazi?
Yeah, well, probably, yeah.
I think if you're in the German military during World War II, that is one of the main ways to tell
Unless
that
you
you're
have
a
a
Nazi.
third way approach.
So it's good that he was in the POW.
He was trying to change it from the inside, though. He got
Operating a rogue faction.
I'll just sort of lay some cards on the table here. I was going to drop this on you as a surprise. No, it's not about being a Nazi. This director, Ernst Hofbauer, he kind of single-handedly invented a genre of softcore porn in Germany.
Yeah.
He's like kind of most famous for that. And so his filmography is like, he made a couple of Westerns, he made a couple of Eurospy things, neither of them really took off. And then he did mostly like schoolgirl-themed pornography until finally being shut down. And it's like...
So he was the guy who invented schoolgirl porn?
Pretty much, yeah. He
came up with schoolgirls. He invented
Yeah.
them.
figured it out.
So there's like a little domino World War II, and then big domino Britney Spears music video.
Well, so the reason why
Yes.
Holy
is
shit.
that like
Okay.
there was like different kind of fig leaves on the production of pornography. And the way that West Germany did it was that, like, you could do a film adaptation of a professional sexologist's report into like sex lives. Had absolutely nothing to do with the actual thing, but that was the pretext. And so he made a bunch of like
Sorry, that rules. That's really funny.
Schoolgirl like sex report movies, and also this.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia here for Schoolmädchen Report. Schoolgirl Report Part 1, What Parents Don't Think Is Possible, full title. Yeah, film was a commercial success in 1970, topping the German cinema charts for weeks, becoming the first in a series that would last 13 titles.
Parents do not think this is possible.
30. Oh my god! Can I? I'm really sorry. I'm sorry we're 5 minutes into this.
There's so little in this movie. It's fine.
I've got all 13 Schoolgirl Report titles here.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
I'm just going to read these out in order.
Right.
Schoolgirl Report number 2. What keeps parents awake at night? Schoolgirl Report 3. What parents find unthinkable, aka Schoolgirls Growing Up. 2 titles there.
Right.
I'm noticing a lot of focus on the parents so far.
Well, that happens. That's in the early filmography. We'll get to that.
Right. Okay. He develops as an artist.
Yeah. Part 4. What drives parents to despair, aka campus swingers.
The parents are going through a real journey on this one. Yeah.
These poor parents. Number 5. What all parents should know.
Okay.
Number 6. Erotic young lovers, aka campus pussycats. Now he's shifted his focus here.
Yeah, parents not so much. Parents, they didn't return for part 6.
Parents didn't return here. Schoolgirl Report Part 7, but heart needs to be there.
Okay, now we get to this in part 7.
He's getting quite wistful.
You do all of the sex scenes, all of the softcore porn, and you're just like, but it means nothing without heart.
Yeah,
indeed. But part 7 here, and I think this is the last one that he directed. Part 7, what parents should never get to know, aka naughty co-eds.
Parents should never get to know naughty co-eds.
Never.
Yeah, they put him out of business because West Germany legalized hardcore porn, and
they were like, "Oh, we're done with this shit."
Thank Christ.
I got 5 more Schoolgirl reports here. I'm not letting you leave.
It's not a wistful titles.
Much like the schoolgirls, the bell doesn't dismiss you.
No, I've been a teacher for many years. Wow, I don't know if I can say that contextually. Let's go ahead and get rid of that statement.
Yeah, bracket's good.
I don't know about that one. Report 9, examination before matriculation. I don't know, not good. Number 10, every girl starts sometime.
That's a fact.
Number 11, trying beats studying, aka Blue Dreams, aka Confessions of a Naked Virgin.
They really couldn't legalize hardcore porn quickly enough, I think.
He wasn't cooking here.
No, he wasn't.
And then his last 2, and he's done a very Scorsese thing here, where he's gotten quite sentimental and focused in his older years. He's gone, young girls need love, and his last one is Schoolgirl Report 13. Don't forget the love when having sex.
Sort of.
No.
So you're learning something.
So yeah, it's sort of a kind of like a Killers of the Flower Moon of schoolgirl porn.
Is it too late to put this guy back in the POW camp?
I mean, I guess the thing is, right, if you're then trying to compete with 70s West German hardcore porn where a guy wearing white ankle socks with a handlebar mustache is like fucking every hole on a woman, right? Then presumably you have to lean into sentimentality and you have to be like the good old days, I guess.
We all remember naughty co-eds the early 70s. Now everyone's hardcore porn.
Everyone's getting pissed on and shit, yeah.
The actors in these films are adults, I hope.
Well, see, this is the thing. This is part of the reason why they were suppressed in the UK, as I understand from Wikipedia, is because there was some dispute about that. So yeah, put this guy back in the fucking POW camp. Red Dragon, however, the 1965.
Yeah, okay, that's quite enough about nonsense.
Well, it's important to know the mindset the director was coming to this with.
Yeah. I don't want to know what mindset this man was coming anything with.
He's bringing 3 junks to the film.
Yeah. Three junks hit the film, and
immediate racism.
The very first line is racist. Yeah, a guy who looks like cunty Steve McQueen. Not that Steve McQueen wasn't cunty, but this guy's kind of the like Yasha role in this movie of the henchman who is a little bit aesthetic and a little bit, he's always posing.
I know exactly what you mean, but he doesn't do it for me. Like,
Really?
they've not pushed him hard enough. He's not cunty enough.
No.
Well, the first thing he does is he grabs a hitman who is like, because they're in Hong Kong on a junk, he grabs the guy, says, "Hey, Confucius," so the racism counter goes way up, hands him 2 glossy photos of actors and goes, commit these to memory and then kill them. Hands him a gun, and then he just like lets him keep the photos, which I'm not sure what the memorization thing was going on there if you were just going to give them to.
There was a moment where, because the film had just begun, you have to take a moment and pause and think, well, maybe this guy's name is Confucius. Anything could happen in here. They're in Hong Kong.
I did bring up the IMDb to make sure.
Yeah.
God, I hope it's not.
Yeah, it's just something that seems really racist.
The way these films always start is that a secret agent gets killed who we call 009. This time we have an indulgence. We have 2 009s.
A double 009.
And a stride for representation. One of the 009s is a woman.
Yeah. One of our 009s, our sort of like sweaty, pursued man, it goes to see his like colleague and finds her already dead. She like slumps over on the park bench, and then he also gets killed by the guy.
So he flees to his flat and he's transmitting a message.
Oh fuck! You're right. I completely forgot about the posting station.
Yeah. He logs on.
He goes to his flat and he like immediately starts on a teletype machine. And
yes,
within seconds of sitting down is like gunned down. This happens to me constantly.
He goes to do age gap discourse.
Yeah, he gets on housing Twitter and a guy fucking executes him with a pistol. We see Moneypenny in San Francisco get the teletype of like, I am being shot.
I mean, they literally do that. Like this guy gets shot and then the guy that kills him wanders over and types onto his teletype the response here. I got the hogs to translate it because I couldn't see what was going on here. He's trying to make a report here. There are 3 junks, whatever. And he gets back, "We were interrupted, please repeat." And the guy types out, "I can't, I'm dead," into the thing and sends it over.
It's really like insult to injury.
That is pretty cunty.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
To kill a guy and then be like, "By the way, I have killed your agent."
So Moneypenny tells M, and M says, "Get Bond," who is in this one is called Scott.
Bond.
Yeah, this is the weirdest Bond we've ever had.
First of all, this Bond is not just called Scott, it's called Michael Scott, like the boss from The Office.
From The Office.
From The Office.
Yeah.
And he's introduced, like normally with these, we see Bond, he's like on vacation, he's like skiing, he's like draped in beautiful women.
He's sexually assaulting a woman.
Yeah, things of this nature. What this Bond is doing is he has configured 2 lines of a model train set such that one train brings him a whiskey, one train brings him a soda. He's missing his third train. He's been unable to configure the like ice train to finish his drink. And this is so perfect.
I was locked into this.
He's also smoking a cigarette in a cigarette holder. He's kind of slightly louche, this
There's
Bond.
a different train that brings him the cigarette.
He's living the life.
And he's an older man, too. He's an older guy.
If they'd leaned into the train thing more, like if he had more things, more train-themed gadgets, more things being brought to him by model train, I'm all about it, you know? But they kind of forget that pretty quickly, and I think that's a real shame.
I was so stuck on it. I was waiting the rest of the movie for trains to come back.
They do once, which is fun.
Yeah.
But also, the voice that they give this guy in the dub, do we have any drops of him?
Well, the opening one.
Now you just keep quiet, understand, or I'll shoot you in the face, baby.
I got a few of them.
The actor who dubs this, I don't know who it was, but he's got a very dynamic voice. He's very bouncy in his delivery. He's quite playful. It's very, very interesting. It's just big contrast to kind of your normal Bond, who's normally a bit kind of like subdued, very Daniel Craig or Sean Connery, like a bit kind of monotone. This guy is just like, if you were to show me this sort of, what's that called? Like the voice pattern, the waves?
Yeah.
The thing I'm looking at right now.
The waveform.
Right. Yeah, it would be like very, very dynamic.
Show me the waveform.
Podcast. Professional.
This is Stuart Granger, who is a British, kind of a like middling actor. Like, he plugged away. He did a lot of shit. He moved to the US, tried ranching for a bit, and just kind of like, this is the late career stuff. He's quite old for the role as well. He's like sort of graying at the temples.
Mm-hmm.
He also, I do want to note that it's very funny to me that we have a German Bond, and the first thing he's doing is playing Train Simulator at home on vacation.
Yeah, that is quite fun.
One of us.
Love that this is canonically how he's spending his vacation. Huge fan.
This is the thing about German spies, you know, the BVD or whatever. They just they get home and they play spy games.
Yeah, but he's in a full suit as well. He's sitting cross-legged on the floor in a full suit playing with his trains here on holiday.
The infrastructure must be changed for ice.
So he goes into the office to see M, and first of all, this is one of the lowest effort M things I've ever seen. Where it's just like, there's smuggling nuclear bomb parts to.
Well, Bond, here's the deal with this movie.
The only note that I have on this one is that obviously you have to show him some pictures of the guys, right? And so what they use to do that is they deploy a sort of recessed within a wall guy identification panel.
Why don't you use the identigraph?
Yeah, no, it's just like a little screen inset into the wall where it's just like its sole purpose. It's a really weird angle too. Is displaying photos of guys that you need to identify. And yeah, the plot is
That's actually what Brian Quimby's got in his house. That's a lot of his work.
It's how he finds the guys.
Yeah.
If you've listened to any number of episodes of this podcast, you could probably recite the plot of this movie. There's a criminal gang. They're smuggling gadgets to make nuclear weapons into China, and 009 was onto them, which is why he was killed. So now you need to go down there and investigate what's going on. Like,
go to Hong Kong. Actually, no, it does the Man from U.N.C.L.E. thing where it's like there is a beautiful woman involved. Go and see what the deal is with her.
Because the female 009 was just a telegraph operator. She wasn't really one of our agents. We're not really that progressive. But she was killed too, and we reckon they are going to try and hire a replacement for her from San Francisco, which is the city that we're in now. So we've actually intercepted the woman that they're going to hire. So go to her apartment and go to her apartment and fuck around.
Yeah, which he does. He breaks into her apartment, finds her like in the bathroom. So while he's waiting outside, he does a little like arm flap stim, which I just find really funny.
I will say I love the throughout this M scene, they're calling each other Joe and Scott respectively, and it doesn't have any sort of gravitas, even slightly, to have your two secret agents be called Joe and Scott.
Yeah, no.
So since his last name is Scott, does that mean the other guy's last name is Joe?
What, Mr. Joe?
Mr. Joe.
You could have elevated the gravitas of this scene so much by like Bond calling him like Sir.
Or even just Mr. Joe.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Joe is my father.
Please.
Call me Joe.
Just that awareness of class dynamics or whatever. Anyway, the beautiful woman gets out of the shower, finds that like Bond has broken into her house
and is holding her bra.
Yeah, absolute fucking nonce.
Average secret agent material. He just goes in there. He's like, all right, let's check the bras. First of all, that's where she's going to be hiding things.
Parents hate to know this.
There's a microfilm in here. I've seen these movies.
So a lot of these things, the sort of thrust of this is going to be that he would seduce her, right? Or something like that. Instead, we do a kind of more realistically coercive thing where he goes, cooperate immediately or go to fucking prison. Like, I have to drop here.
27 years in jail.
Well, I tell you, if you are a very good girl and cooperate, I'll see that you don't go in at all.
Which...
she pulls a fucking gun on him, which...
She does?
Great. He very patronizingly dismisses it and then takes it off her.
That's a horrible looking little thing. Is that loaded?
Which...
Do you see what I mean about his voice?
You never know how you'll react when you see a gun.
Disgraceful.
Ew. Adult man who earnestly believes women still have cooties. He's like, yeah.
But he threatens her with jail time, and she says, look, I don't know anything about the people I was supposed to meet. They gave me a ripped $50 bill, and I was supposed to meet a guy in Hong Kong off the plane and give this to him, and that's all I know. And he's like, right, okay, cool. And then he has her arrested.
Yeah, he immediately betrays her.
I have a question for the podcast. I haven't seen as many spy films, so I defer to your expertise here. Do you see this move a lot where you disarm a woman by going, hey, there's someone behind you? And she goes, what? And looks over her shoulder and you just take her gun? Because that was so embarrassing.
That's one of the most effective strategies we've ever seen.
You lose all respect for this woman instantly.
He does the look behind you trick and it works.
There's a kind of strict gender divide with these things, right? Where you disarm a woman by being like, hey, there's something behind you. And you disarm a man by doing like a sick, like mid-level kick and kicking the gun out of their hands.
There's so much disarming in this film, so much that our Bond even makes a joke about it later on.
It's true.
It's incredibly non-lethal.
He has her arrested and he says, never trust a man, and blows her a kiss and leaves. And I'm like, fuck.
Never trust a man.
There's also, I mean, he also keeps calling her a good girl, which...
Well, you've been a very good girl. You've been such a good girl. I want to introduce you to my family.
Which...
that doesn't come back.
He doesn't.
No.
There's a post-credit scene.
He just gets... He just gets her arrested. She's like in federal prison for the next 27 years, I guess.
Very trans Twitter, that drop.
There's some dual applications here. So he's then introduced to the agent who's going to replace her.
Yeah. She's going to pose as a telegraph operator. This is Carol.
Yes.
Oh, you're so right. So I guess that woman does just go to prison then. Okay.
She just goes to prison.
One scene, prison.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was the same woman for the whole movie.
Carol is blonde.
They go to a Japanese restaurant or a Chinese restaurant. I'm not actually sure which.
I assumed it was Chinese because we're going to Hong Kong, but
it is Chinese. I've just put Japanese for a joke convention in the next note, which is white boy shocks Japanese restaurant by asking for knife and fork in perfect racist accent. Because
I say, oh boy, you got a knife and fork for me?
He does a joke about how he doesn't know how to use chopsticks. Yeah. And then throughout the rest of this meal, he's like doing bits about how shitty the food is and how they're going to leave and get like Euro food.
He can't work the chopsticks, and he says, no wonder the Chinese are so thin. They never get anything to eat. And like, she, meanwhile, is like gorgeous and just like eating with chopsticks because she's intelligent and cultured.
And her line to him is,
why are you looking at me?
Not why are you looking at me like that, just why are you looking at me? Which is like accidentally like perfectly shutting him down to be like, don't talk to me.
Don't look at me.
He's so patronizing in this scene because he says, I like you. I'm going to worry so much about you when we're in Hong Kong. And like, she isn't really a secret agent. She's just a telegraph operator, but she's in on this. She's in on working for the FBI.
Yeah.
She's very good at telegraphing. She has 119 words a minute, she says.
Yeah. Real fast. Good. He gives her a bracelet, and it's like a communicator.
The Discord bracelet, yes. Yeah, this is going to come back fairly often. And it's just like, it's a hidden radio thing. It works with his watch. So he can like bother her from like in audio whenever he wants.
Also, her fit in this scene, astounding. White dress, which amazing if you're going out to dinner at a Chinese restaurant eating chopsticks with a white dress. Love it. Also, like asymmetric white overcoat, beautiful.
How does she do it?
There are some good ones later.
So they go to Hong Kong. She is dropped off. And they separate. She goes to get picked up by cunty Steve McQueen. While he takes a rickshaw, the most racist mode of transport.
Dev, you found something really funny in this?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, when they cut across the camera to our Bond, he hasn't started moving yet, so he's just stood completely still. Like he's in the Joe Biden pose with his hands like flat by his side.
Listen, you get like a very rare look at like an actor who doesn't think the camera is on them yet, and then you get to see them start. Like you can see him say action in his brain, and like it's really it's really funny.
Just do another try on that one, man.
It reminds me of that time that we saw Atomic Blonde and we saw those two supporting artists have to keep talking for about 3 more seconds than they thought they were going to. It's just this moment where the world of the movie just kind of like flickers a little bit.
She's like, oh shit.
It's really funny.
I do love that.
So cunty Steve McQueen is like, he has the other half of the dollar bill. So he's like, all right, I immediately accept this is real and you are who you say you are. I'm going to drive you to the Spectre lair where so that you can do the typing, which again is insane as a prompt to be like, we just hired some woman to do the typing because you can't have men do it.
Well, it's a little bit clever in that, which we found out later. But like, So we meet our main bad guy.
Is it?
Yeah, we meet our main bad guy, Pierre Milo, and his associate, Blanche. My notes say, hello, Clocky.
I have 1960s trans woman dysphoria.
Blanche, insanely hot.
Yeah, no, Blanche looks fantastic throughout this.
They kind of have like couple looking for a third energy.
They really do.
I don't know if they do, if that's just what every European couple is like.
I gotta go to Europe is the thing.
like if that's just the vibe. That's
Me and my criminal associate saw you from across Hong Kong Bay and loved your vibes.
Yeah, so
they're saying we got 2 junks and we're looking for a third.
We also meet Mei Ping, who is a Chinese lady who's there as like the mate, we think. And as Carol is settling into her room, we see Milo go downstairs and calls the boss, and he's like, "Yeah, new secretary just arrived. It's all good."
Yeah, she's definitely not a spy.
I'm fascinated with Mei Ping because she is the only Asian person who is a character in this movie.
Yes.
So the whole time I'm like waiting for her to be like the spy queen, but no, she's Mei Ping. We love what she does.
Yeah, she does say there's a bit of a reveal with her later.
Well, yeah, but like one of the things about how racist this movie is not something that you can pull out just in like, here's what happens in this scene, here's what happens in this scene, but a kind of like general disdain for anyone who is actually from Hong Kong, because like in half the scenes they're just like stepping over them or like pushing past them, and the way that it's filmed is one of like complete disinterest. Like I don't know how you make 1965 Hong Kong look boring, but they film it like in a really kind of like flat, uninterested way where you just know there's some like ex-Nazi German guy holding the camera who's just like, yes, this is not interesting to me.
Yeah, and I guess also the scene in the Chinese restaurant really sets us up because like he doesn't know how to use chopsticks and sees no reason to learn.
Ever need to learn, which would be like an easy like gimme like character growth bullshit thing as he learns how to use chopsticks. Never does.
In fact, even as they leave the restaurant, he says, "Let's go and get dinner." He sends the food back, and it's like, I don't like it.
Racist asshole.
Proudly ignorant. So he goes to a temple and he meets our man in Hong Kong, this guy Norman.
Yeah, and this has weirdly cruising vibes because he's like,
It does.
There's a woman in the temple who's like praying because she's looking for a husband, and he's like, I'm looking for a man too, as he sidles up to this other guy. And it's just like,
I just love all the names. Michael, Scott, Joe, Norman, Linda,
Norman,
Carol, Blanche. This is fantastic shit. This is some real peak 60s.
Well, we're about to meet a guy who does have a memorable name.
That's true, because Norman's like, listen, you need to meet a second consecutive white guy. This is the guy who would be playing the part of like local ally, I guess, except
I thought he was going to be like a Mr. Sontag.
Genuinely, because he's like, okay, you gotta meet this guy. He's like my man on the ground. He speaks Chinese. He knows the city.
Like, he knows the city. And I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna meet our like local ally. We meet Smokey, who's just a white guy.
Smokey's unbelievable.
I love Smokey's energy throughout this whole fucking...
Huge fan of Smokey. Yeah, Smokey is maybe, I think he got this job by lying about having previous experience. And he's definitely lying about speaking Chinese.
He's a rube. Like
the only requirements they're given before we meet Smokey are someone who knows Hong Kong like the back of his hand and is fluent in Chinese. And you look over and it's the dumbest white boy they could find on the continent.
He's so happy to be there, though. Like,
ostensibly, Michael Scott is an FBI agent, and I'm like, I kind of believe this is how the FBI would have operated, particularly in the 60s. You know, it's like, yeah, we just found this guy.
Well, I guess it's because the implied third criteria is
he says he knows all of this,
and he has to be white.
Yeah,
he doesn't say that, but like.
He's in the club. Yeah. He's Smokey. He's a good old boy.
Damn, we're in Hong Kong. Where are we going to find a bunch of people who know Hong Kong and speak Chinese?
Weirdly, like you couldn't even find a British white guy when we were the colonial overlords of Hong Kong. Which
thank God we're not involved in this.
Yeah, no, we genuinely, right?
We didn't do any of this. Thank fucking Christ.
Not responsible. Also, that never comes up. That at no point does the FBI have to go and like have a word with the colonial office.
No.
I'm like, hang on a minute. Shouldn't you be chatting to us?
It's just location.
Yeah,
the thing.
like this takes place in Hong Kong, but it could have been anywhere. Like it does not in any way meaningfully engage with being in Hong Kong.
You're right, Alice, because they're just like not interested in Hong Kong as a setting at all.
Yeah, which is weird because like the most enjoyable parts of this for me was looking in the background and just seeing like 1960s Hong Kong street life, but just like really interesting, fascinating setting.
And all the boats.
The boats were so
Whenever
good.
a boat shows up, the movie becomes twice as enjoyable for the next 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, just like all the most interesting stuff is Hong Kong. Like fucking Police Story 2, where I went into a 10-minute reverie because I saw a like catering van. Yeah. This movie doesn't even give you the opportunity to do that because it's like so hostile to its own sort of like.
If anything, Hong Kong is an obstacle, not a setting.
Yeah.
I think this comes up soon, but there's as long as we're talking about like background setting, the Michael Scott has to take a rowboat at one point to like do one of his spy meetings or whatever, and they totally gloss over this, and Michael Scott is not interested at all. But the guy who rows the rowboat is essentially like he just flops an oar in the back and like bench presses it nonstop.
Yes,
it's an up and down almost. It's really interesting.
It looks exhausting.
I want to know everything about this and nothing about Michael Scott.
Before we get there, though, Scott looks at some model trains in a window, and we get another classic of 60s spy movies, a sinister guy pretending to be blind.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is about like blind people in the 60s that's like, that's sinister.
You can't trust them.
They were really mistrusted.
They're lying.
What was this?
How pissed off would you be if you were blind in the 60s and you weren't a professional assassin? Because, like, per the movies, 100%.
Yeah, 100% of the blind people that we have seen on film in this podcast have been pretending to be assassins.
I think it's
They've been real assassins pretending to be blind.
Yeah, that's true. Stealing valor.
I think it's right up there with like the holes in the newspaper. Like this is just classic spy shit. If you don't want to like just put any effort in today, you put some sunglasses on and get a stick, and you're like, fuck it. No one's gonna look at me.
The irony. No one will see me because I can't see.
So the fake blind guy follows Scott and Smokey back to their place where Smokey's like, hey, do you want to wrestle me? Again, some weird vibes here.
I love Smokey.
Again, Michael Scott is 60 years old.
This guy looks amazing as well. He's got like the Dracula flow fucking peak. It's like pure white on the sides. I have no idea who cast this man as like a suave and sexy spy.
Yeah, very odd.
He's sort of not very Bond-like at all.
No.
Like Bond wasn't really a super established character at this point, and he's an FBI agent, so he's a cop more than he's a spy. He's like older. He doesn't really have any like sort of Bond qualities. And Smokey is like, hey, can you like put me in a headlock? I think that would be fun.
I never had a father.
Smokey just bearing a little too much immediately. It's just like, you smell really good.
He's just trying to get his whole backstory across the second he's on stage.
Yeah. And the second he does this, the blind guy strikes and
with a gun hidden in his cane. He misses, and then Scott uncle chops him. And as he's going to interrogate him, the blind guy gets killed with a throwing knife that's been thrown from a passing car. Which, good shot.
Yeah, really good.
Incredible knife.
I have two notes from this. Note number one. I love a throwing knife guy. I love him. I cannot get enough of a guy who has a throwing knife. That's my first note. Second note, they had a second assassin on hand waiting in case the first assassin failed, and that second assassin's job was to kill the first assassin only.
This organization does not tolerate failure.
Even if you have a free shot on Michael Scott,
do not take it.
Don't take it. Because the two of them are next to each other when this guy takes out the previous assassin.
Having to put out an ad for a hitman and include the words "no onward chain."
It's a sort of hitman food chain, you know. There's like, he's a higher form of like predatory life. he's the eagle swooping down.
Oh, it'd be such a harsh interview as the first assassin being there like, now you promise you haven't hired a second assassin to kill me, have you? And they're like, no.
It's a seniority system. Like they send a junior guy in at the front.
Yeah. It's really funny to be like, to do this organization does not tolerate failure thing, but like instantly because you don't have time to like bring that guy back and show him getting in trouble. So instead you just have a guy like on deck ready to kill him.
Yeah.
So at this point, Carol finds out what her job is going to be. And she sits in the basement and they get transmissions from the junk, which we assume are criminal in nature. They're always in code.
Yeah, her job is to transmit and receive messages that she doesn't understand through a process that she does, which is some kind of Chinese room, which is apt, I guess.
Yeah, and she says it seems like pretty easy work. Like, why did you hire me and you're paying me all this money to do this? It's very easy. And Milo says, thinking that she is the woman who she has replaced, well, we understand that you've had a little bit of a criminal background. I needed somebody who wasn't going to ask too many questions. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And she's like, got it, boss. We're criminals, no worries. And she says, oh, by the way, could I maybe help with the decoding? I do have these skills. And he's like, maybe if you're good.
Yeah, maybe if you're a good girl. I think he actually does call her a good girl again.
The sexual tension is through the roof.
Parents don't know about this.
Parents don't want to know about this.
Parents must not know. And she calls Scott, and Scott's like, oh, you got to take care of your pretty face, baby.
Well, sort of. I think this is the point that what actually happens is she calls Scott und dann fangen alle an, Deutsch zu sprechen because the fucking dub runs out.
They just keep cutting out.
Yeah.
This is the problem with these movies.
This is just an us problem. This is...
is we have a bunch of movies that are like, it's somewhat dubbed into English, and then the rest of the time in German with no subtitles. I don't think we're missing anything. I don't think those few minutes contain anything good. But yeah,
it's part of the way the film is meant to be viewed, where you black out every 7 minutes and then come back after a brief period of confusion.
That is very much how I did this one. Carol here doing standard 60s hot girl shit where she's lounging in a nightie, kicking her feet, and she's got perfect, like, permed hair.
How do you do it, Carol?
She looks great. Scott goes to meet Norman and Smokey, and Scott says, how did the blind assassins know that I'm in town and that I'm an FBI agent? It's really weird. The only people...
Wait. Hold on. The blind assassins implies the second guy was also blind, which I really like. It's just a blind guy with a throwing knife.
It's a John Wick situation. All blind people in Hong Kong work for the junk lord.
Yeah. So he says, how did they know I'm here and how did they know I'm a bad guy? The only people who know I'm in town are you, Norman, and you, Smokey. Weird. Guess we'll never know. And I'm like, okay, Norman.
I wrote that down. Yeah, just like, damn. Anyway.
Norman's the bad guy. Because we're not going to reveal that Smokey's the criminal mastermind, are we? It's clearly Norm who's like, damn, that's crazy. Anyway.
Someone's tipped him off, but I can't figure out who. Oh, well.
Anyway. It would have
Anyway.
been a great reversal if after teaching Smokey how to fight, Smokey used those moves on him in the third act.
Yeah, it would be cool if it turned out the bad guy was Smokey.
But no, as we all knew, you can trust Smokey through and through.
Smokey is a sterling gentleman. He will not betray you. Norman, though.
Oh, Norman, who looks like German Silvio Berlusconi. Yeah,
he does. Holy shit!
This is Paul Klinger, by the way, who worked as an actor through the war. Yeah,
Did you get an exemption to work as an actor?
It's okay. Smokey was in the war as well. I checked.
Christ.
The actor was drafted at 15 into the Second World War. So on the German side.
I guess there's like worse things you could work at during the war.
That's true. Anyway, so they go to the docks, right, to try and figure out what's going on, and a guy just like ambushes them with a camera, and I'm like, oh, they're doing the thing from like one of the OSS things where a guy identifies him. No, this is a business that apparently operates by like taking your picture on the docks and then going, hey, do you want a picture of you on the docks? And coincidentally, on the wall of this building, they have a photo of 009 0092, the woman who got killed, and a third guy at the docks.
So like, who's the third guy? Who could it be?
No.
The third man, if you will. It's a Chinese guy.
The third junk.
Yeah.
Third junk.
And so they go, okay, well, where can you find Chinese guys who work at the docks? The docks, probably. I don't fucking remember how they get to this point, but like...
a lot of my notes are just like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, so they're chatting with Norm again at the bar, and they're like, we need to find the third guy in this photo. Cool. So Smokey and Scott leave to go and find the third guy. There's a white guy with a fucked up mustache who does the kind of like kill them. He like orders a goon to follow them with a gun. We never find out who this guy with the mustache is, and he never comes back.
He just works there.
He's involved in it.
What the fuck is
Yeah,
this
he's
guy?
actually not part of the conspiracy. He works for the dock, and he's like, that guy's fucking around.
The dock assassin.
Send one of our
position.
blind assassins.
Yeah. Smokey says, yo, I found a fisherman who knows who the guy in the photo is. So they go to see that fisherman.
And this is so they're rowed out to see that fisherman.
By
There's
a second
guy,
fisherman.
Yeah, there's a guy following them. That guy has a facial scar, so you know he's evil, and he has a knife.
Yeah, a knife that he opens. It's a spring blade. He opens it and then puts it, blade still out, into his sleeve. And you go, amazing.
Wait, I wouldn't do
You're
that.
good.
This guy knows how to use a knife.
Yeah, this guy knows what he's about. So Smokey speaks Chinese, right? That's why we brought Smokey, because of his Chinese speaking. He tries to speak Chinese to the fisherman, and his Chinese is. I checked this with a speaker of Cantonese. Terrible, very bad Chinese, apparently.
Very bad Chinese, folks.
Which is at least authentic. The guy speaks English anyway, which is almost funny.
Really hugely love that it's canon. This guy doesn't speak good Chinese.
Yeah, that is quite cool.
Here's our guy. He speaks Chinese. He knows Hong Kong like the back of his hand.
He brings the heart to the mission is really what he does.
That's true.
Gotta bring the heart.
Much like schoolgirl love. If there's not heart there, then
You know, I shouldn't have done it in the first 5 minutes. I realized we set us up to do a lot of return jokes to the pedophilia, but probably should have thought about that.
I'm still not over like small domino World War II.
Listen. 30 minutes of the show, pedophile jokes. The other 30 minutes of the show is going to be every drop of any time anyone mentions the word junk. I have all of these.
I'm still not over small domino World War II, big domino my ex saying, do you want me to wear pigtails? And I'm like, no. That's weird.
9.
Well, if you ask the parents, they're going to say,
I don't know.
so at this point, the guy with the knife perfectly throws the knife and misses everything. But this frightens off the witness to the point that he's like, okay, well, I'm not fucking talking. Even though Michael Scott chases the knife guy off. Well, I say chases the knife guy off. What he does is he turns, fires like 3 shots, all of which
45-degree angle upward.
Yeah.
The angles of the shots was so wild. Straight in the air, then at a random boat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
Fuck.
He shoots 3 unrelated people, yeah. And then the guy with the knife is very gently breaststroking away under a boat, very slowly.
Damn, can't get him.
Sort of bronze swimming certificate.
He only brought 1 knife he missed and then just swam away. We're like, what are we going to do? Oh, well.
That guy was assassinated by a different guy moments later, we assume.
Yeah, boat drove past and the second guy just dropped a knife on him.
Or a knife with tied to a brick, so it's
A lot of people in the Hong Kong economy at that time were just nested assassins.
Yeah.
So we go back to the fucking
The villa.
The villa.
Because at this point, Scott and Smokey are like, well, we better try and do some actual spy work then.
Yes.
So they go to Milo's villa and they pose as insurance salesmen. And then he tries to do the Pierce Brosnan thing of yo, have you committed any crimes?
Yeah, and Milo's answer to this is no.
No.
Why don't you make an appointment to get assassinated, idiot?
Yeah. Well, they're like, did you know your secretary and also her friend are both dead? And they're like, damn, that's crazy. We don't know anything about
that. Guy's
that.
like, really? Wow. Huh. First time hearing of this. And he's got this massive great Chad jaw and the huge eyebrows as well. Just Really interesting looking guy.
And there is a kind of Bond moment here where Milo goes into the basement, like calls his boss, and his boss is immediately like, yeah, he's an FBI agent, kill him. Which
really liked that. He calls his boss to be like, there's a strange guy here who's doing insurance stuff. And the boss is like, yeah, no, he's FBI. I've already tried to kill him twice. If you could take care of him for me, that'd be fucking great.
He can dodge a knife like nobody's business.
You're going to need to bring a second knife. I know we never do this, but you may have to consider.
Bring a second knife to kill yourself when you miss.
Yeah.
License to kill yourself.
Kill yourself.
And the last knife is... I'm going to take a chance on this one.
I have come.
No.
Kill yourself.
There we go. To just sort of like miss with both of the knives that I brought, and to be like,
Killing myself.
Steve
I'm
Harvey.
gonna fucking kill that
this is going
cunt.
to feature in every episode going forward. I'm so sorry. So yeah, at this point, Scott is like, all right, Smokey, can you fucking do one thing right in your miserable life and go and investigate the like warehouses this guy has by the docks that I know about for some
So
reason.
many like dead ends in this movie. So like Smokey goes to the docks, they try and kill him, and then he goes back and nothing happens. I'm like,
And the exchange before they send Smokey off, though, is this one, which I really love.
I'll meet you at 7 o'clock outside the same bar, right?
I've got it, Chief. What do you do in the meantime?
Well, I'm going to sleep.
He's just like me. He's just like me.
I'm going to sleep.
I gotta go to sleep, man. Best of luck.
Scott, in the guise of this insurance agent, like calls Milo and says, "Hey, can we have a meeting? Just talk about life insurance." He's like, "Yeah, cool."
Come to these assassination coordinates. Yeah. By the way, when Smokey goes to those docks, that warehouse, a guy tries to kill him like Looney Tunes style by dropping a big crate on him. And when the crate misses, the same guy just like leans back like, well, done all I can.
He just went for one shot at it and was like, ow.
I don't have a
Ping is
knife to
also
kill
there.
myself with.
Smokey suspects she may have been involved.
Everyone on the entire dock looked at him, saw a crate, almost squashed his head, and was just like, Thursday, and moved on.
Well, he dives into the harbor to avoid it. And in fact, Scott comments on this in the next scene because Smokey tells him, I had to jump in the water. And he's like, but your clothes are dry. And he says, well, I went back to my hotel and I cleaned and ironed all of my clothes.
Germans.
And we get some more like slightly homoerotic things where Scott says, oh, you make a great housewife.
Yes.
Love to dress you up in an apron.
He says you should get married. You'll give some
kidding.
lucky girl a great wife. And I'm like,
Do you ever practice kissing, Smokey?
have you heard of Lucy Dacus? The song "Kissing Lessons" it was very formative for me.
Good song, yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
So drive to the assassination coordinates, and Cunty Steve McQueen tries to assassinate him.
Cunty Steve McQueen. This is the only part in the movie in which I sit up in my seat until when I know that Cunty Steve McQueen is armed with a Sterling submachine gun. This is when we thought that
a really good one.
The way of the future was going to be like a submachine gun with a magazine that came in from the side. It was like the successor to the Sten. It looks really fucking cool. Spy movies.
I live for that I live for that shit. Spy movies.
So yeah, they shoot him with the bullets that like drive your car off the cliff because the car is like driving normally, gets hit with a bullet and gets knocked off the cliff.
And they think that they got him, but they didn't.
Yeah, this car does not explode, which I was disappointed by.
Yeah, that was a shame. But Cunty dude calls it in, and Carol overhears Milo on the phone being like, excellent, we got him, he's dead.
Clapped his ass.
I don't know why he didn't die. They just somehow flopped onto the cliff, and it was like, good thing we both know how to do that, even though you're not a spy.
Yeah, had he been saved in that moment by some like arcane model train bullshit, I wouldn't have questioned it. But instead,
like,
it's
latches
just
on with chopsticks or something.
You know what? If Smokey died, I would have bought it. But no, they're both just spies, so it's okay.
Smokey's fine.
So yeah, she thinks that he's dead. I should also say that Blanche is wearing at this point a lime green pantsuit with a black shirt, which fucking pops off. That's the only thing that's notable about this scene, where they like hitchhike over to the villa, arrive in a car inexplicably, and then like solid snake their way inside.
Yeah, they did arrive in a car, didn't they?
Blanche hates Carol. She's jealous and doesn't
So
like
jealous of Carol,
Ugh.
just because of how many words she can type.
Yeah. Carol is sad because she thinks that Scott is dead, but then Scott sneaks in and is like, I'm actually alive. She's very relieved. They kiss. My notes say, why?
I'm alive and we're in love.
Yeah, well, he's been hitting on her from minute one in the sort of like Chinese restaurant, and she's been giving nothing back beyond.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah,
Please stop.
And that's not the sickest part. The sickest part is that Smokey is outside. They let him watch like a pet that's wandered into the room. Like they don't even turn him to face the wall. He's like a stuffed animal. He's seen some fucking thing.
You've got to shoo Smokey out of the room. What does Smokey know about this?
Smokey sleeps on the foot of the bed while you make love.
I'm aware of the cuck chair, but the cuck surveillance outpost is like a new high.
Well, isn't that like the guy in The Lives of Others?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. He's like
The cuck surveillance outpost?
West German. It's a deeply West German thing.
Germans, sick people.
All just like Jason Voorhees listening to people shag?
So he goes to the fucking warehouse. You can hear me putting my hands over my face as I try and remember what happens in this fucking movie.
So Carol tries to find the code book to decode the shit.
There's so little.
She plants her bracelet, but then it immediately gets discovered. You see what I mean, listeners, about the dead ends in this movie? Like she tries to plant it and then just fails, and I'm like, well, yeah, pick a thing and do it.
It's meandering, you know?
I'm going to be honest, if you didn't tell me there was a nuclear bomb involved at the beginning of this podcast, I did not know that at the end of the film.
I didn't know that.
They're putting the like nuclear bomb parts into logs to disguise them.
Yeah.
Also, at this point, to add to the confusion, the dub fails, and we just get like 2 or 3 minutes of German, which Blanche seems suspicious of Carol, but that's all I can tell you.
Quite a pivotal moment.
Yeah.
How's your German?
There was a subtitle file included, but there are still some bits where that doesn't even have any. So
yeah, but so Scott finally infiltrates this warehouse. He finally gets in.
Yeah,
and is immediately made. Someone sees him, and his response to breaking stealth is to like shoot the first guy, sort of sidestep back and forth around a pillar in front of the other guy's vision, which causes him to glitch out.
I loved that. That was awesome. He's just looking back and forth with the gun, being like, I could shoot him, but he's so tricky.
They're 3 feet away from each other at this point. And then cunty Steve McQueen drops a tire around his head and arms, which does not restrain him in any way at all.
It throws him off, though. Then he gets captured and beaten up.
Oh, he gets captured, and then he says, apropos of nothing, looking directly into cunty Steve McQueen's face, he says,
You must have been a beautiful child. Your mother must have loved you.
I knew you'd get that one.
Did you know her?
I knew you'd get that one.
Just baffling reads.
I know your parents wouldn't want to hear about it.
God, you're handsome, rip-off Steve McQueen.
It says, you must have been a beautiful child. Your mother must have loved you. Did you know her? And that's his, like, one-liner. And I'm just like, did you know her?
It doesn't even, like, I don't even, it takes me a second to even pass that as an insult. What are you fucking talking about, dude? It just sounds like you're hitting on me in the most pedophilic way. Damn, you must have been a hot child.
That's what he says. My parents don't know this.
You must have driven your parents to despair.
I'm now realizing, like, 50 minutes into the podcast, this is just the 1960s equivalent of doctors hate him.
Parents don't think this is possible. I'm getting really into the fucking tire thing. I love that. I love thinking about that as an extension of the thing they had at the time where they thought that if you pulled a guy's blazer jacket down around his arms, he was fucked forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was just common belief at the time in Europe was that if you had your upper arms in any way restrained, you were fucked. You were
very Western.
That's true.
The focus on arms.
Oh shit.
So meanwhile, Carol is trying to like
find the code book.
Yeah, and she gets caught by a Blanche.
She's wearing a beautiful pink dress in this scene.
So really nice. Honestly, a lot of her fits in this are really good. She looks a bit like Kate Archer in No One Lives Forever too. Anyway, she gets captured, and there's like just the briefest, tiniest moment of like lesbian vibes because she's like tied up being menaced by this woman. And then she's immediately like, nope, not going to do the menacing myself. Going to delegate that to
Chang.
Chang, who is
His name is Chang.
He's not a character.
Yeah.
Not a
So
character.
Carol gets caught and suspended from the ceiling. And the shot that we get, because her dress is backless, the shot that we get is like shot from behind her. So we see her and she appears in the shot to be nude. And like Blanche is standing in front of her, like smoking a cigarette. It's like,
me and who. But it's
wow.
Don't start listening, people. But so yeah, this then becomes the kind of like racialized sexual threat thing.
Yeah. Chang tries to menace her. She kicks.
He does.
Chang.
She does an incredible kick, by the way, because like suspended only by the wrists, right? She puts her whole weight on her wrists, which I don't recommend, and then incredible core strength, like pulls herself up to kick him in the chest.
Yeah, she has like a matrix kick to Chang.
Yeah.
And he flips over backwards.
He sells it great. He does like over the head, incredible stuff from
Chang is taken the fuck out by this.
And then they cut away, so we're left to assume like, and that was it.
He kills himself with a knife immediately after this.
He's too embarrassed.
You take 1 hit point of damage and you just have to kill yourself.
No.
This organization does not tolerate even the mildest of failures.
This organization is doing a hitless run, quite frankly. And if you're not aligned with the fucking vision, kill yourself. I don't know. Fantastic.
At this point, Milo is trying to run away with the cash, which I quite like.
Yeah, because he's like, fuck this shit. This organization is doing it.
It's like, I'm going to get knifed if I keep doing this because I failed somewhere.
This organization's on fucking Iron Man mode and they need to leave. All right. Blanche comes in and she's like, trying to escape, are you? And he's like, yes, 100% I am. Of course I am, bro.
Which I respect. I respect so deeply.
Blanche, she's a fucking snitch. She immediately dubs him in.
Yeah, she does.
And what's that get her? What does that get her?
Nothing.
Knocked out, I think, actually.
Yeah. She gets knocked out and captured. Blanche gets knocked out again and captured.
What? No, she doesn't. What are you talking about?
I don't fucking remember.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I've skipped like 10 minutes because I stopped looking at the screen. And
Blanche calls the chief and is like, yo, Milo's trying to betray us. And then at this point, Smokey got caught last night and Uncle chopped. And he's woken up by Mei Ping because for some reason they just left him lying there when they Uncle chopped him.
He's been unconscious for so long. He's been
out and then left.
like face down outside for like 12
no one
hours.
in this conspiracy has a second thing to do. They've only ever been given one instruction per thing. When they're done, they're like, all right.
So Mei Ping is there, and she's like, yo, wake up, Smokey. We've got to go to the next scene. Everyone else has left. They've all driven away. So Scott is he's in the car. He's being driven at gunpoint by Milo. And they're being followed by somebody else. We don't know who this is. The other guys like open fire, killing Milo. Scott manages to bail and the car blows up. And we see that these assassins who just took out Milo is fucking Norm.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, the only guy it could have been.
Smokey's friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, Smokey's friend.
They did not spring for the non-explosive car upgrade like Michael Scott did, by the way. The car just fucking blows up from the trunk first. So
at this point, we get a scene that happens in German where Smokey and Mei Ping go to the police station, and Mei Ping, I'm assuming, given what happens later, this is the point where Mei Ping reveals that she's a cop.
Mm-hmm. But
Almost
it's not
certainly.
like, yeah.
Is she a cop? I thought she just was in love with Smokey.
No, she turns up at the end in a police officer's uniform. She's the one who brings the cops in because she's been an undercover agent the whole time.
She's got some great uniforms in this. We all love Mei Ping.
Truly.
Mei Ping, folks.
We all go to the junks.
Yes. And at this point, while he is being...
All right, let's get to these fucking junks, baby.
Now, no funny business. You head straight for the junk.
You can keep that one. That's good every week.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know my own junk.
I knew
Oh, god damn it, you've got them all.
I knew you were going to get that.
Is this one a junk one?
No, I prefer to go to the junk.
Yes, it is.
Scott goes to see Norm. And he's like, Norm, I somehow still don't know who the bad guy is, despite the fact
He's like, Norm, I'm trying to figure this
you
out.
tried to shoot me in the previous scene. But he decided we've got to go. They've got Carol. We've got to go straight to the junk. And then Scott does because he sees that Norm has a gun in his desk and he fucking puts it together, right? So they get on a speedboat. They're heading out to the junk. And at this point, Norm pulls a gun and he's like, aha, I'm the bad guy. But Scott's like, I unloaded your gun between the scenes, you fool. Tables turned.
The tables are turned, whatever.
It's a move that works even better than pretending you're selling life insurance.
Blanche and cunty Steve McQueen have injected
Carol.
have injected Carol. I will never remember this bitch's name.
They're in love.
Have injected Carol with some kind of sleeping drug, and they're taking her to the junk also.
Scott pulls the old fake prisoner routine.
If you'd watched this movie and nothing else, you'd get the concept that human beings spend 45% of their lives unconscious. Not sleeping either. I mean,
no, just knocked out.
Just in places.
Going to bed and a big mallet hits me over the head. I should say, by the way, that I'm working off of a synopsis, weirdly detailed Wikipedia synopsis of this, auto-translated from German. So...
Oh, thank God. The English one is not good.
Well, to be honest, at this point, when they get on board the boat, we get a lot of people getting disarmed. The gun goes back and forth so much that Scott even makes a joke out of it. He's like, I'm getting sick to death of this gun. I'm just going to keep hold of it. And it's like, you wrote the film like that.
Look at this terrible thing.
This buttery gun.
They keep getting tricked into this one little room below decks on the junk, and then the gun changes hands again.
It'd be slapstick, but it isn't. It's desperately boring.
Yes, really bad. Everyone ends up fighting. Carol manages to uncle chop somebody. That's cool. The
she has done all of the work, all of the spy shit in this movie.
Yeah, she's been really good considering she's not even a spy.
Yeah,
this guy just wants to play with his trains.
Relatable.
She helps him defeat cunty Steve McQueen as well because she sneaks behind him under gunfire.
Yeah,
and punches his gun away from him so that Scott can punch him off the boat.
She's a natural.
Yeah, where she gets heeld at trident point by cunty Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why he has a
believe
trident.
that.
Yeah, and he's like, if you take a step towards me, I'm gonna trident her in the face.
This woman?
If you take a step towards me, you're going to die like someone who... No one has died by trident since gladiator times.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't threaten to kill her. He's like, she's not going to be so pretty anymore because I'm going to trident her face.
You're absolutely right. He threatens to disfigure her.
Yeah.
This is because that's her only worth as a woman is her looks, obviously.
But this is your wife.
So Scott punches him off of the boat, and the second he hits the water, he's dead. He's like fucking GTA Vice City. It's over.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Most one-sided movie fight I have seen in my entire life. It's just Michael Scott working the body, working the jaw, using obstacles.
He's swinging. He does the thing where he pulls the blazer down and completely incapacitates him. He punches him. He hits the water, and like Altair in Assassin's Creed 1, he dies instantly on contact with water.
There was nothing in the rest of the movie that hinted that fight was going to be that one-sided. It was completely a wash.
Yeah, if anything, cunty Steve McQueen was talking himself up. He gets his ass handed to him.
He did like a 30-hit combo.
If he doesn't have the tire, he's fucked. He's got nothing.
I have one move. I need an empty tire.
My one move is to drop a tire on you. I need to be one floor above my opponent at all times, or I'm literally fucked.
Yeah.
Norm and Blanche are trapped below deck, and Norm reveals that he's planted a time bomb on the boat.
Yep.
That he now can't escape. Why did you do that? This was your boat.
Imagine hearing this from the guy that you've just trapped below decks.
Scott, let me out! I set a time bomb on board!
He's like, you did what?
Sounds like a you problem, man.
This is your boat.
Just leave.
Norman, man, what are you doing?
He goes in to rescue Blanche specifically.
Norm fakes him out.
Yeah.
Because they also manages to sets the fucking boat on fire because Blanche and Norm fight because Blanche is like, you were planning to blow us up and cover your tracks. You just were using us. Fuck you.
Yeah, he knocks her out and starts a fire, and he goes like, "Steve, there's a fire down here." And
I've also started a fire, Steve.
he's like, "What is with this guy?"
It's like really making yourself as like pathetic as possible, like as threatened as possible, in hopes that the guy takes pity. Steve,
I've beansed it. Help me.
And they cut to Steve, and he's just making out 5 feet away from the door.
I've skinned my knee.
I also pissed myself.
They are just above text kissing. They're like, all right, I should probably go check on Norman. He seems to have really fucked it up.
Well, the smoke starts coming out, and he's like, "Oh damn, they really are on fire."
yeah, it's kind of a false ending. So the Royal Hong Kong Police turn up with Mei Ping in uniform, which hello.
And Norm fakes Scott out because he gets below deck and having noticed the smoke from the fire. And Blanche has been knocked out because Norm knocked her out and says, "Help me carry her." And Scott runs up to him, and Norm uncle chops him on the back and runs for it. But he ends up getting hit by a falling beam and killed.
Yeah,
so.
no, he dies so unceremoniously and as a result of nothing. He just walks out there, and the fire that he's set in the course of this fight just drops a beam on him, and he's
have
done.
Carol kill him. She's right there. But anyway.
Carol is unconscious and below decks, and what Steve does here, and this is
she's not Blanche's.
That's Blanche. Carol's.
They're all
right.
Great. We love these ladies.
Blanche is below decks. She's unconscious, and Steve goes, "Oh well," and leaves her.
Yes,
dives
off the boat. It explodes. This is such a bad job of it, man. Like, this whole thing could have been dealt with so much more easily.
Yeah, you should have rescued her.
Yeah.
Like, at every opportunity, this whole mission has gone completely wrong.
They didn't want to shoot her getting arrested, so instead they just like blow her up. And the last shot is like him and Carol kissing in a totally like unearned way. And that's
Red Dragon.
Movie. That's Red Dragon, The Secret of Three Junks.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a horrible looking little thing.
It's not. It wasn't good.
I don't know. I'm going to sleep.
There we go. And that's my review of Red Dragon.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I have coronavirus right now, and I'm going to sleep after this.
I'm going to go to sleep.
The thing is, right, we gotta stop doing the Euro spy movies. We gotta stop. I'm sure there are good ones. This isn't one. This wasn't even really fun to make fun of. This was just
it's like mining, man. It's like
I'm working so hard. I don't dispute that I have a real job anymore. This sucked.
But how did you feel about it, Alex? I'm sure you've not seen that many Euro spy movies. How does this hold up?
So the little, the stuff that you've all probably gone numb to, which is the instant karate chops to make someone go unconscious, were entertaining for me every time.
The uncle chop.
All of the 60s, like, rampant misogyny stuff was very funny to me. Had a lot of fun. It was objectively a bad movie. Like, I would never contend that this is a good movie, but here's what I liked about this that I do not get from movies that come out in 2024, which is it is 90 exact minutes long and then over. And you get to leave. And that is fine for me.
You could tell they were like running that clock as well. They were like
post-credit scene, you know.
He doesn't show his parents the girl he arrested. But I watched the new Wonka. New Wonka 2 weeks ago, and I was in the theater with my family being like, that wasn't so bad. I mean, it was like 200 minutes or whatever. It was pretty good. But you know what? Like, if that was if that was exactly 90 minutes like this is, I would have had a great time with that too.
Mm-hmm. We got to bring back a 90-minute movie.
Yeah. There's no reason for them to be this long.
Yeah. But we don't have to speculate, though. We have a science-based system on this podcast. It's called the Scum system. It stands for SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny on a scale of 1 to 7. So how smarmy is this movie, bearing in mind the...
well, you've been a very good girl.
...kind of ness of it.
A lot of that's going to come under misogyny.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have, like, one-liners all that much.
No.
The things he says seem random and unearned in a way that does keep you guessing.
Yeah. It's just kind of
It does keep you guessing. I will say that about the movie.
Yeah.
He's got a few little things. He's got like, well, that's a horrible little thing. And then he's got the bit where he's just like, never trust a man. Ba-da-ba-da. And like, he keeps calling her, a lot of this is going to come into misogyny, but he does keep calling her like, you're my favorite girl. And like, how's my
Good
best girl?
girl.
And stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a ton of smarmy lines. Like, he doesn't have the Bond lines where he kills a guy and then does the like thing, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That does the one-liner. He doesn't do that.
That hadn't been invented yet.
Basically true. I don't know. I could see this going up to like a 4 or a 5, you know?
Yeah, I could give it a 4.
Yeah. All right.
Cultural
Fine.
insensitivity.
Cultural insensitivity. Yeah. No,
It's
I mean...
weird. I've never been, like, our stance has always been omission is blanket too, right? Because you have to pretend that people who aren't white don't exist, and that is culturally insensitive, even if there's no one of color actually in the movie to be made fun of. However, this is the only time I've ever felt like we need to do the omission thing despite having the whole film set in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
genuinely.
is nobody.
It's egregious. It's
There's
only
Mei
Mei
Ping.
Guy.
Mei
It's just
Ping,
Mei Ping. It's Mei Ping and the henchman.
and then a fisherman who would rather not talk to you in a totally understandable way.
At least he's like humanized. Like he has a family that he cares about, I guess.
They do humanize one person of color, and that is so good for the fucking 60s. That's better than we can imagine.
The rest of the time, though, even just the way they shoot street scenes and stuff where they're pushing people out of the way, it's just kind of like, it's just contemptuous more than anything. It's
It
just
could be
like,
anywhere. Like it's just so.
like, I thought part of the point of filming these like Eurospy movies was to be like, check out these cool, exotic destinations. Now, with the magic of air travel, you too can go to Hong Kong. And it's like, no, they didn't want to be in Hong Kong. They're like, if we don't give a shit about this place, it sucks, and we're racist about the food. It's just...
Yeah. 6.
He didn't
6.
even enjoy his one-man rickshaw.
That's true. The most racist mode of transport, and he didn't even like it.
If you're taking a one-man rickshaw, like they're just pulling you, you could just walk at that point. What are you paying them for?
Yeah.
Just don't wanna.
I'm so tired.
Unprovoked violence. I mean, when he gets like detected in the warehouse, he does just like shoot one guy out of hand. And it's not even the guy who sees him. He like shoots the guy's friend.
I choose to believe he didn't mean to. Because I'm basing that on all of the rest of his discharges, and I reckon that one was probably negligent. If he successfely killed
That
the guy
did
with
have
it.
a knife, but that is kind of a bit like. I'll give him a couple points for that.
He does kind of... Is it violence to not save a woman?
Yes,
From-
it is
Yes.
actually. Yeah, he should have done that. That's getting points for
A
that.
duty to intervene?
Yes.
Carol
Okay.
wanted Blanche out of the way.
I don't know. It's got to be... He's not like killing hordes of people like fucking Rambo, so like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, I don't want to go lower than a 4 because he does allow an unconscious woman to die. That's
4?
not cool.
Cool.
You shouldn't do that.
And then last of all, misogyny.
7. It's got to be.
I mean...
Never trust a man.
From the
Never
scene where he's
trust a
like
man.
touching her bra, he's so fucking patronizing. The
Mhm.
depiction of women in this film was like Carol is obviously in love with him for no fucking reason. Bullshit.
It's gross. Real bad. 7. Yeah.
Yep. Fuck
In
that
which
shit.
case, where does that leave us?
That gives us a total score of 21, which is pretty bad.
Do we feel like any characters went above and beyond the Call of Duty?
I don't think anyone in
Nobody
this movie
really-
went above and beyond at all. It's so by the numbers.
Nothing memorable about this one. Do not watch this. You don't need to do that. We made Alex watch it, and that's enough people, you know?
Can I just say as well that, like,
Yeah.
going back and looking at the scores from the Man from U.N.C.L.E. movies, those were so much better than the things that were being made at the same time. Like, the Man from U.N.C.L.E. movies are consistently at 15, 14, 11, 12. Like, they knew how to do it. The Uncle boys, I miss
Them
them.
uncle boys.
They're
at it
Uncle
again.
Boys.
Napoleon Solo and Ilya Kuryakin, the true kings of this podcast, I think.
Honestly, though. But yeah, that's Red Dragon. Do not watch this movie.
Bad times.
Thank you for listening
Jesus
to the
Christ.
podcast. Alex, thank you for enduring this with us.
Thank you for having me. I had nothing better to do. I have COVID-19.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
I have to get you back on for a better one.
If the people want more Alex, where can they find you?
Oh, you should go to the one-stop shop that is the Quarators YouTube page. We have recently been fired for truth. You must support the show.
Damn shame.
Oh yeah.
Also, Devin's been on once.
That's true.
And
Cool
Abigail.
Raters is extremely funny. I highly
Abigail
recommend it.
has been on, and Justin Rosniak even as well. So if
I guess I wasn't, funny enough to. Well, that's fine. Well,
Alice, you're the missing
Alice,
element.
kill yourself.
We will have to get you back at some point, Alex, because we've never done a Dragon Ball Z movie on this podcast about masculinity. We tried
got
to
close
once.
one time, and it got.
I kept vetoing it. Yeah.
Yeah, she wouldn't let us do it.
Clearly, one actor is stopping this from happening.
Mysterious Alice.
If we got you as well,
presence.
it's Quarate. She cannot stop us.
Which one would you do?
I don't know. We tried to do the one where Vegeta becomes a Super Saiyan God, but it didn't end up working schedule wise.
I mean, I
Yes,
talk about Broly for an
schedule-wise.
hour and a half anytime, but
Yeah, I'd be keen to go back to some of the older ones. To be
I'm
honest.
just sitting here like, what are you three fucking talking about?
See, if you could just show Alice Tree of Might, the whole situation would change.
Oh, that's not a good one.
Don't.
we're not doing it. We're not going to do this.
The original
on
Broly
air.
one might be good. The original Broly one.
No. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We hope to do a limited number more Eurospy movies in 2024.
I'll say this for you: the end is in sight.
Mm-hmm. We're nearly there.
Yeah, it's almost over. We will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. Next episode, in 2 weeks' time on the free feed, is The Man in Istanbul. I don't know what that's about. I haven't watched that one yet. It should be fine. I don't know if we have a guest lined up for it either. But if that is simply too long for you to wait, then next week on the Patreon, patreon.com/killjamesbond, all one word, £5 a month minimum. As the cost of living gets harder and harder, £5 a month is probably the smallest amount of money anyone is asking you for per month at the moment. My dentist tried to charge me £16 a month, and I'm like, everything in my life wants to charge me £16 a month, man. I can't do this. I simply cannot allow my dentist to be one of them. Regardless, Netflix doesn't even have anything good on it anymore. Old man yells at cloud. It's going to be a movie on there. It's Vive the V, which is, of course, a French New Wave movie. And if you have not seen the previous bonus episode, it's Zardoz, and I think that is hugely worth your time. That's already out on the bonus feed as you're listening to this. Now, speaking, of course, of the bonus feed, we would be nothing without our patrons, and of those, tales are told of our £15 and above patrons, and those are Space Northpaw, Low Bjornsdottir, Andy Fox, Freya Aloysius, Gustavo Lira, Little May B, Jack Holmes, Mike Berg, Hannah Oberhart, Nick Boris, Power Dad, Nathan Mori, Jason Hager, George Roha, Kentucky Fried Commie, Drone Lover, Yarrick, Melody Moro Gonzalez, Dr. Nose, Osher Inspector, Labour Delenda Est, Callum Burney, Jay Martindale, Trip, Library Hitman, Max Gaiman Hart, Jonathan Gerd, Mothman, Beef Crime, Kit Devine, Jack Drummond, Top O, Steve Widdershins, Anne Hedonia, Maeve Victoria Roth, Rosie Can't Fail, Help, Send Horses and Men, Claire, Forrest L. Novell, Sean Connery and the Leather Budgie Smuggler Blues Band, Lenina, The Project, Emery, Commissar Ozymandias, Whitney Wolverine, a Trans Robot, Just the Worst, Hell, Joyous Uwu, Kill James Bond, Highlights, San Hutchin, Artemis, Violet Cybra, Isopod Gal, Annie Ruby, Katie Brobst, Bronan, Clarifications, Virat Sukat, John 2089, Noblesse Oblahai, Connor's Cool Big Sister, Sergeant Jackram, Seng Shen, Alex, Liz Nash in Florida, Corvid Cultist, Woolscott, Quinn Valeri, Grendel Growls, Wolfie, Al Owing, Philippa Smith, who is at present banned from being funny in the jazz outro, Finn Ross, Robert Greensmith, Abigail, Electro, the Cyber Puppy, Loz, Pycog, Mega Combi, Emily, Queen of Sloths, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Josh Simmons, Zoe Shepard, Cheer Up Love, Might Never Happen, Vay, Talkative Tiger, and Lauren Baston. Thank you for all of your support. Kill James Bond is Alice, Abigail, and Devon. We were joined on this episode by Alex Patak. Our producers are the wonderful Mr. Nate Thay and Tom O'Mahony. Our podcast art is by Maddie Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. See ya. Mwah.